today we're going to talk all things cooking, food, and I wanted to take you through some of my favorite recipes. This is our little family recipe binder. I think I've had this for a couple years now, maybe 3 years, and I'm not super consistent on filling in my favorite recipe cards and keeping note of it, but we have a good bit collected, and when I thought of making this video, that kind of gave me the motivation to sit down and write out some of our favorite recipes so that we have them easily accessible, and hopefully our kids one day will grab this recipe binder and be reminded of some comfy, cozy home cooking. So I'm going to take you through just to give you some recipe inspo, because I know I'm personally always looking for just really yummy, nutritious recipes to make for my family. So I love this sort of thing, and throughout the video we'll stop, pause, and make some specific recipes. So put together this little menu that we're gonna make throughout the next few days, but I'll just insert the footage and add little tidbits here and there. But for our breakfast foods, we're gonna make our favorite chia pudding, or chia seed pudding, and then our tried and true granola, which I always love to just have in the pantry. It's so good for yogurt bowls, but also as a cereal, just pour some milk over it. And then our favorite veggie quiche. Whenever we have people over for breakfast, pretty much I'll make this veggie quiche. It's our favorite. And then for lunch, we've been loving this cilantro lime. It's almost like a chimichurri sauce, but I make it creamy and add some lime as well. And instead of making the chimichurri with parsley, I've been making it with cilantro. It's so fresh, perfect for summer. And then we're gonna make our sweet potato fries, which we also love. And what makes these fries so good is that they are a vessel to enjoy our spicy sauce. This spicy sauce, I'm such a sauce lover, so this is our favorite. And then for our little dinner inspo, we're going to make a rosemary hibiscus iced tea. So refreshing, so delightful. An almond pesto pasta and some date treats for dessert. So that's a little bit of what's to come, but let me just give you an overview of this recipe binder. So it's split up into different categories. Let's get right into our breakfast, our favorite breakfast. We have our waffles. I actually made these yesterday morning, and that's what gave me this idea for this video. I actually made pancakes instead of waffles, but I used the same exact recipe. So fluffy, so delicious, and it also has a good amount of protein because I put a lot of plain Greek yogurt. Plain Greek yogurt is one of our most used ingredients, so there's a lot of that in there, a lot of eggs, and it's just such a great recipe. And you can tweak it for different needs. Like yesterday, I didn't add any sugar because I wanted to give it to my baby, and he doesn't need sugar at this point or even know what sugar is. So next, we have our banana bread. Love this banana bread recipe. It's a little healthier option. I'm also going to try to scan these pages and put them on my website so that you can visualize. And some of them are the directions might be a little spotty because I'm not a professional recipe cookbook copywriter, but hopefully they're helpful. And then our veggie quiche, which we are having friends over on Saturday morning, so I do plan to make it in a couple days, so I'll insert that footage and give you a look at our veggie quiche recipe. The key to taking your quiche to the next level is using a homemade pie crust. I follow the Southern baked recipe. It's tried and true, never has failed me, and that's like the whole point of making a quiche, is to enjoy the crust. It's the best part. And it's also great because I pretty much just I definitely just use one bowl for this recipe too. I made my pie crust in this bowl, let it sit for 2 hours and then in the fridge. And then I'm just putting all of my veggies, the eggs, the cheese, the seasoning in this bowl, pour it over the crust, pop it in the oven, and call it a day. While we're in breakfast pause mode, let me show you our easy peasy chia seed pudding recipe. It's just a few ingredients, but again, you can tweak it how you wish. And chia seeds are really fabulous for digestion, heart health. I feel like they have all of these random health benefits. So I'm gonna do about a tablespoon in each jar. Essentially, they expand when they're in liquid, so it'll look a little funky, but we just leave them in the fridge overnight, and then it gets nice and thick and pudding-esque. And actually I'm gonna do a little more. I am not precious with measurements whatsoever, but I used to not like pudding of any kind really because the texture isn't my favorite. Even chia pudding I wasn't crazy about at the beginning, but the trick for me at least is to add in berries and our granola or just crunchy things or cacao nibs, because that just kind of adds more dimension and that nice crunchy texture. And now you pour in your milk of choice. We also love overnight oats, which is similar idea. And then we add a little sweetness with some maple syrup. You can also use honey. Give it a nice stir. Sometimes I'll put a little sea salt in it as well. I love maple and sea salt together. And now we'll just plop it in the fridge and enjoy it later with some toppings. Ta-da! And now for our chocolate granola. In the recipe binder, I have it chocolate granola, but we sort of tweak the flavor profiles depending on what we're craving. The chocolate sounds perfect right now. I have been craving chocolate like crazy, but in the fall time, I'll lean in more towards those autumnal flavors, lots of cinnamon, pumpkin pie spice, all of that yummy stuff. So you can, again, tweak this recipe to whatever you're craving. I haven't made the chocolate version of our granola in quite some time, so I'm excited. We're gonna preheat our oven. And I think I'm just gonna make our batch of sweet potato fries while our oven is on. I'm always trying to scheme, especially in summertime, ways to consolidate turning on the oven because it's just so warm that we don't want the oven on all day. So I'll try to just kind of prep that ahead of time. And then, yeah, for our chocolate granola, what I do also, I always am scheming how to use as little dishes as possible. So this recipe calls for coconut oil, and the coconut oil, when it's just in the cupboard, it solidifies. So I usually have to melt it in the microwave to make it liquidy so that you can stir it on every little bit. So I first add in our coconut oil in our mixing bowl, and then I add all of the other ingredients on top of the melted coconut oil. Even in this recipe, I have it much more intricate where you melt all of the liquids together in a saucepan and then pour it over the dry ingredients. But as you can see, I love to take a little shortcut with cooking. We just gotta be efficient and make it happen. Then we have our sunny sourdough sandwich, which we love our sourdough, and this just feels like quintessential weekend morning breakfast. It's so yummy and just makes you feel warm inside. Okay, now for condiments and sauces. We have our chimichurri sauce recipe, which, like I said, I love a chimichurri sauce, but really adding that cilantro and yogurt and lime, or in this recipe, do I have parsley? Yeah, I have it with parsley, but you can, I don't know if traditionally chimichurri is always parsley. I believe it is, but something about cilantro just has that summer flavor. So having the cilantro with the lime and the yogurt, absolutely divine. We've been putting this on every salad, and just having it stocked in the fridge feels like it takes every meal to the next level. For our cilantro lime dressing slash chimichurri hybrid sauce dressing, I don't even know what to call it because we use it as a sauce, we use it as a dressing. It's half inspired by chimichurri sauce, it's half inspired by cilantro lime, like creamy dressing. So anyways, I put all the ingredients in a blender, and this just makes our life so simplified. When I make chimichurri sauce with the parsley, like as more of a sauce or marinade, I sometimes will just chop it finely and then mix that together instead of blending it all, if you want more of the herbs kind of showing and not all pulverized together. Then you can do that, but this is why I've been making it so much, is because it's so easy. You just throw all the ingredients in the blender, blend it all up, store it in a container in the fridge, and then it is at your disposal. So I'm gonna add in my lime juice, and I do the whole bunches of cilantro. If there are some bigger stems that are looking a bit aggressive, then I'll take them off, but I put the stems in all, so I don't chop any of the cilantro off. And since it's all blended together, you really don't taste the stems, like the fibrous pieces, and it just adds more to the recipe. And I feel like the stems probably have additional nutritious value, so we just put it all in, and then put our olive oil, vinegar, spices. I'm also going to throw in a jalapeno because we do have some jalapeno in the garden. This sauce could not be easier. It's only 4 ingredients, and again, it has that Greek yogurt, so you have the protein and nutrients from there. You can also make this sauce with mayo instead of yogurt, but the flavor difference isn't that extreme. Of course, the mayo might be a tiny bit tastier, but it's still super yummy with the yogurt and pairs so nicely with a variety of things. I actually put it on my breakfast tacos the other morning, but it's so yummy with the sweet potato fries, like I said. And we go through a lot of sweet potatoes in this household. For our spicy sauce, you can use mayo, but I like to use plain Greek yogurt. It truly tastes almost the same, and it's a little healthier, so that's what we do. I like the Primal Kitchen mayo a lot too. Speaking of, for our second ingredient, it's buffalo sauce, which I use the Primal Kitchen buffalo sauce. It's delicious, pretty clean ingredients. And then our last ingredient is garlic powder. It's as simple as that. I made this so many times now, so I just sort of eyeball everything and use my heart to flavor it. I also have a feta tzatziki recipe. Mediterranean food is my #1 favorite food, so I love the feta and tzatziki. This is another one just to keep stocked in your fridge, and you can top it again on salads. It's actually really good on salads or on a sandwich, or dip some veggies in it. Really yummy. Next we have our pickled red onion. I used to be really good about always having pickled red onions in the fridge, but I kind of lost my spark for making pickled red onions, but we got our recipe whenever we're ready to go. Ooh, same with spicy hummus. I actually haven't flipped through this recipe binder in a while myself, so we gotta make our spicy hummus soon. You will notice we love spice in this household. We're actually getting our baby used to all the spicy food. Thankfully he's liked it so far, but sometimes I'm like, ooh, that's really spicy, can you handle this? And sure enough, he's into it, thankfully. Unfortunately, our appetizers and snacks tab is empty for now. I should put the popcorn recipe in here because we're always making our coconut oil popcorn, but it's like so ingrained in my memory but that's the point. This is to pass down to my family. I need to just sit down and make it. Same with sides and salads. I don't have anything written down, so let me know if you have any good summer appetizers, sides, salad recipes. I guess really the dressings is what inspires my salad, and I just put a bunch of different veggies and stuff, but it'd be fun to brainstorm. We actually make a really yummy kale, like Italian salad that's inspired by one of our favorite restaurants, so we should put that recipe in here. Soups. I'm a big soup lover. I don't really make as many soups this time of year because of the heat and toasty nature of summertime, but we love to have lentils on deck. I actually made some lentils the other day, and this one recipe I have, I'll link it. It's so quick, so easy, and very nutritious. You can plop some tzatziki on top or Greek yogurt, have some rice or couscous on the side. Divine. Oh, this creamy gnocchi chicken soup, so scrumptious. This past fall I had this little soup soiree where all my friends brought a soup to share, and we voted on the favorite soup to celebrate fall time. It was so fun. And I actually made the creamy gnocchi chicken soup with pumpkin gnocchi. Trader Joe's sell pumpkin gnocchi, so I usually just use like typical gnocchi, but with the pumpkin, it was so good. But this is such a yummy recipe. This recipe is half-baked harvest. So some of these recipes are from different chefs and cookbooks, but then I add like my own little flair, and then some are just like things we've put together inspired by our travels and stuff, which the rosemary hibiscus tea, this recipe, I will actually make it with you now. It is inspired by when we were in Switzerland this past spring. We ate at this delicious Italian restaurant. It was so cozy, quaint, and I ordered the iced tea, and they served me up this delectable rosemary, lemony, honey iced tea. And I never had a tea with rosemary in it, an iced tea with rosemary, and I just loved that. It paired so nicely with the Italian food too, because that rosemary spice just like bodes well for a beautiful Italian meal. So that's what sparked making this recipe at home. I pulled out all of our ingredients, and I'm warming up some water. I'm gonna do 3 packets of hibiscus tea. The point is to just find a combo. Oops, I don't know. I've never made the tea in this specific jar, so we'll see how it does, but I really think the hibiscus flavor and the rosemary go quite nicely, and I just love hibiscus tea in summertime. It just feels right, but you could really, whatever flavor you think will go well with the rosemary is what you should go with. And it's just really nice to have like a different drink option, again, especially in summertime when it's so toasty and you want to just stay hydrated. So I'm gonna add in the tea bags. I need to make sure they don't sink down. And then we'll pour over our hot water, and I'm also going to put our fresh rosemary within the jar. And oh, I actually wanted to do the honey first. What am I doing? I'm getting ahead of myself. So I'm gonna do a nice, generous spoonful of honey, and then we'll pour over our hot water. I'm gonna fill it all the way to the top, and then put in our rosemary, pop it in the fridge to cool, pour it over ice with some lemon juice. I'm so excited for when our baby turns 1, because then he can start having honey. Babies aren't supposed to have honey before their first year just because it can contain a certain bacteria. but we're getting close and I'm very excited because we actually use honey so often in our home. Then the almond pesto pasta, which we'll also make now. This recipe was inspired by when we did a cooking class with Nona in Rome 2 years ago. It was actually on the outskirts of Rome, but we signed up for this Cooking with Nona class, and this was one of the best experiences of our life. Truly, it was so lovely and wonderful in every way, but we made this almond pesto. They called it pesto. I think when I look up the definition of pesto, they say just on Google it says that basil is involved. So maybe there is a better way to put it. I don't know, but it's lemon juice, almond, crushed almonds, Parmesan, a lot of Parmesan, olive oil, salt and pepper. So incredibly simple. We like to put some red pepper flakes in it as well. So delicious on bow tie pasta, which we love to make from scratch as well. And it's one of our favorite ways to zhuzh up some pasta. I pulled out the ingredients for our little almond pesto, and this one's going to be a remix because I used our just plain Parmesan block last night. I made some chicken Alfredo. So we're going to use this Toscano cheese crunchy chili onion block instead of just plain Parmesan. So it'll have a little kick. I'm not totally confident in the flavor combo, but I'm pretty confident. I love we would typically put red pepper flakes on it anyways, so maybe we'll just forgo that. But essentially what I'm going to do is crush the almonds. That's what I have this little tool for. I honestly don't know what this is meant to be used for, but it works when I crush the almonds. And then I'm going to add our olive oil, lemon juice, and our cheese. And essentially just combine it all in our mortar and pestle. For other entree ideas, we have our black bean burgers. I used to make these a lot more because I used to have more of a plant-based diet, which I still love vegetarian dishes truly. And this one's really yummy because it's super flavorful and black beans are so nutritious. So this is a great one, again, with those sweet potato fries and their special spicy sauce. And then this veggie pasta recipe, this is actually inspired by a pasta that we had on our honeymoon in Antigua. We stayed at this all-inclusive resort. It was so fabulous, and they would have a pasta dish every night with dinner. And this one night, they had this veggie pasta dish, and we absolutely loved it. The capers is what takes it to the next level. And now for our dessert tab. We have a few recipes in here. Some seasonal ones mainly. We have pumpkin muffins, which, oh my goodness, I love summertime, but I am starting to daydream about fall a little bit, and just the notion of sipping on a coffee, eating a pumpkin muffin with like crisp air, divine. And then we have our chocolate pecan pie, which is so yummy. This has won me a bake-off one year. I did it again for a second year though, and it did not win, so might need to step it up. And then lastly, we have a crinkle cookies recipe. This is probably chocolate chip cookies. A warm chocolate chip cookie is probably my favorite recipe in the whole world, or my favorite dessert in the whole world. But these crinkle cookies are phenomenal because it's like double chocolate. And can you tell we are chocolate lovers? But Today, for our last recipe of the day, I want to show you our date treat recipe. This has become my husband's like signature dessert he eats every single night. Sometimes I'll just have like a bowl of dark chocolate chips because again, I'm obsessed with chocolate. But this date treat is actually really yummy and I wanted to share it in case you're unfamiliar with dates because they're really nutritious and really yummy. I had to take a break from eating them after giving birth because they're so associated with like third trimester birth or pregnancy, but they're quite yummy. I don't always crave them every day, but they're a good idea. So let's make our date treats. We have a guest chef popping in to give you a tutorial of how to, oh, he's putting the apron on. He never wears this apron, by the way. Ever. I like the bows. Suits you.
Thank you for having me, first of all.
He is the date treat connoisseur, I would say, ever since I introduced him to dates.
I was gonna thank you. And thank you to my incredible bride for introducing me to this. Where did you find out about it?
It's all over pregnancy stuff.
It's a thing? Okay, well, let's get to it.
No messing around.
Fresh medjool dates, if that's how you say it. That looks like a great one. Just a date.
Close up. Can you give them a close up of what it looks like in case? They're already pitted too.
Like. Yeah,
sometimes they have a pit.
This has... So, normally, I think when we were just on our trip, we got some that had seeds in them. But, so there's normally like, I don't know, like an olive type of seed in it. So you just open it up. Then peanut butter. I like no sugar added. So I don't think the date is very sweet by itself. So I don't think you need any extra sweetness. So you open it up, then just put some peanut butter in there. That's it. Then along the same lines, you could use chocolate chips, but these are just cacao nibs, so no added sweetness because I don't think you need it. And I love the crunch that this adds as opposed to chocolate chip too. And then at first, when you introduced me to it, we didn't do this. But I just thought it seemed like a good idea, like a chocolate chip cookie to balance all the sweet with some saltiness, a little pink Himalayan sea salt, and that's it.
Just like that. Simple, sweet, all you could hope for.
We get to eat it now?
I really hope you enjoyed these recipe ideas. Let me know if you make any, if you love them. If you have any recipe ideas to share. I really hope you are well and have a beautiful rest of the summer season, and I'm excited to see you next. Bye!